Hello everyone, my name is May and today we'll be going through my used journal collection. And just a disclaimer before we begin, I'm not actually a Gryffindor, I'm just cold. First up we have my final months as a heterosexual, which is from the 22nd of October 2016 to the 18th of March 2017. This journal takes place in my first year of high school, right at the end in year 7, and a lot of the entries are just about boys, because I thought I fancied every boy in year 7. And also it's about my sexuality and discovering that, as it is called, my final months as a heterosexual. I first started this journal because I was binge watching a lot of Overall Adventures. I will link her channel down below. She is my favourite journaling YouTuber in the world, and she was a big inspiration for me, so I decided to take up journaling. If you were curious, this is a buffalo journal from Typo. Next up we have The Loser Life Lessons of the Lame. Now, I've just read through this and it turns out this journal took me a whole year to complete, so it was March of 2017 to March of 2018. There's a whole section somewhere in here where I planned out a step-by-step plan to ask a boy to hang out at the library with me. He said no. There's also a lot of songs in this book, which is surprising for me because I feel like in the last couple of years I've dropped off with songwriting, so it's interesting to go back and see all of the songs I've written. And also, like, my handwriting changes a lot. It's also the journal that I get my first boyfriend, which is interesting to look back on. Kind of sad sometimes, but still glad I have it, if that makes sense. And also, at the end of this journal is a large chunk. A large chunk of the end of this journal is my 2017 Nanowrimo, which I didn't finish just because I overestimated myself a lot. And this is just a normal journal. I think it's like 250 pages from Kmart. Okay, next up we have Marble-less, because I thought, you know, okay, hear me out. It's the word marvelous, but also the cover's marble, so marble-less, and also I felt like I was kind of going crazy writing this, so I've lost my marbles and I'm marble-less. Cool. This is actually an old food tech book that I taped up at the start. I think at this point I had definitely gotten over NaNoWriMo. That didn't go very well, but I still try to make it a habit of writing short stories throughout it. I can't remember much of what happens in this journal, just because I think it was a time in my life that I had to block a lot of things out of. Coming up to my very first school musical, we did Beauty and the Beast, and this is me hopelessly trying to remember all the lyrics because everyone left practicing until the last minute. And yeah, this is just a plain workbook that my mum and I covered in, like, you know, the sticky stuff? Yeah. So next up we have Busy and the Beast, because at this time we were putting Beauty and the Beast on and I felt like my head was everywhere. There was so much going on, it was crazy. It's so small because I felt like I was drowning in this last one, so I wanted like a nice small change so I could get it over with quickly. I think I ended up finishing this before the actual production of Beauty and the Beast, but I think it was a really good way to just brain dump because it was such a messy journal, if that makes sense. Can't quite find it in here, but it was also around the time that a teacher passed away at school, which was, I don't think I quite comprehended how big of a deal it was. Because it was kind of brushed over quite quickly, but yeah, it had a big effect on a lot of us, so I wrote a lot about that in here. This is also when I tried to go vegetarian for about a month. It didn't work because that's a story for another time. I'm realizing I'm forgetting to say the dates on these, but this one was the 17th of July 2018 to, I can find it, the 13th of August, so about a month, yeah. Ah! Is this in the right order? No, it's not. Next up we have That Time I Overcame Derealization. Yeah. This journal, for some reason, is very hard for me to hold. I don't really like having it here, just because it was just such a bad time. It's just a time where, you know, I'd just broken up with my boyfriend and dealing with that was a lot. It was also when I started my first job at the fish and chip shop, and that was very stressful as well, so it was a lot of things happening all at once. Yeah, kind of me writing down how I was struggling with all of that. This journal took me from the 14th of August 2018 to, oh my god, Monday the 12th of November 2018. And I think I got this journal at a market. Yeah, it's by Michelle Allen, if you can see that. However, despite all the other crazy stuff going on, this is also the journal that I met my current boyfriend. and that turned out really well. So this journal is kind of sad for me, but I think it's still good to look back on and see how much I've grown. This next one is called Dear Chris, and it took me from the 14th of November to the 6th of December. And this one's called Dear Chris because I dedicated a large portion of it to my nana who passed away a while ago. And at this time, as well as all the other crazy stuff that was going on, I was kind of dealing with the grief of it, if that makes sense, because she had passed away when I was very young, so I didn't really comprehend what was going on. My mum always tells me that if there was one person that knew what was going on inside my head, it was Nana, so I thought I'd kind of try and talk to her through my journal, if that makes sense, and I dedicated a lot of these entries to her. By the end of it though, I had to kind of stop with that because, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but I felt like if I dedicated this whole book to her, then I wouldn't have a place to write everything else that was going on because I felt weird talking about some of the stuff in my head with her, if that makes sense. So I kind of had to backtrack on that one a little bit. So yeah, it's kind of a split between talking to my nana and just a normal journal. And a large portion of this is my work and the first couple of dates I had with my boyfriend now. So yeah, it's still weird to look back on because I wasn't in a good place up here. This was also around the time I started writing down songs that I thought were really good to describe my headspace at the time. And I think this one was from Officeworks. Next up, another kind of not fun journal. This one's called How to Play Chess with a Dragon. I named it that because we had to write a short story in English and I wrote one called How to Play Chess with a Dragon, and I thought it'd be cool to write that in my journal here. This is actually the most recent journal out of all of these that I haven't finished just because I didn't like it. It took a lot out of me. My writing was really small and I put the pressure on myself to use a really fancy pen as well, so I was really careful with what I was writing. And it's just kind of a mess, honestly. I didn't really number the pages or organize it, and it's just hard to look through because there's so much. And yeah, this journal was from the 6th of December 2018 to the 24th of March 2019. And I think I got this one from Ishka. Next up we have But the Tigers Come at Night. There's not really a specific reason why I named this journal this. I was playing around with the front cover and I drew this little cat, and I thought it looked like a tiger. And also at the time I was staying behind school with my friend and we were practicing I Dreamed a Dream from Les Mis, so I thought of the lyric when I was drawing it, so I thought it'd be a good name. Anyway, this is my favourite journal ever that I've ever written. You can see how my headspace was from how bland it is to how colourful it gets, and I don't know, maybe it's silly, but I just think it's such a good representation of where my mind's going. And not that there's anything in here of importance, it's carrying on. It was just like such a good space for me. I felt safe here. I journaled every day. It's also when I started really collaging and like art journaling, not in the sense that it looks any good, but just like if I didn't want to write, I'd at least be drawing and painting and doing things in here that really captured me. I feel like I'm rambling, but yeah, I love this journal so much. Such a mess, and yeah, it just makes me happy to have it in my hands compared to the other ones, which I think says a lot. This one was from the 25th of March to the 27th of June. I'm not sure where this came from, but my dad went to Sydney around that time and he came back with this journal, so I got it from there. It says Sydney on the front. Okay, where is it? This journal is called Shoe Polish Sunday. Again, not any specific reason. I would kind of just said to my boyfriend, hey, what should I call this journal? And he said, Shoe Polish Sunday. And I was like, sick. So that's what it's called. This journal was from the 27th of June 2019 to the 8th of July. Yeah, this took me not very long at all because it's the school holidays right now and I just wanted like a place to dump everything, if that makes sense. And I really did treat it like that. So it's just a lot of writing, a lot of everything. Like I was trying to figure out how I wanted to do my notes next year for school. All of this stuff I just kind of dumped in here, and I'm really glad I did because yeah, sometimes I just need a place to dump everything, you know. I also started to wreck this journal inside this journal, which is hard to think about, but yeah, I get kind of stressed if I try and keep more than one journal because it's too much for my head to comprehend. So I just thought I'd do the pages and then stick them in here, and I think it's cool. I also made the edges bisexual because why not? And then I'm pretty sure this one was just from the $2 shop, but it's really good quality for that, so yeah. Yeah, I finished this one a couple days ago, so now we have my new one that I haven't even started yet. I don't have a name for it. I've numbered the pages and I'm currently going through watercolouring some of the pages just because it makes it more interesting to write on, and I have a feeling this one's not going to take me much longer either because it is, I think, 120 pages, and I kind of want to treat it the same as this one. It's just like a dumping ground for everything. Again, I'm not really sure where this one is from. I think they came in like a pack of 3 like music themed journals. Yeah, they're all the journals I've kept so far. There are obviously some from when I was like 8 years old that I didn't finish, but these are all the proper ones that I've started. And then the other 2 books that I've finished, kind of, is this notebook, which I took to England with me, which would have been with the... Ooh. During the course of this journal, and it is just a compilation of all of my cheesy writing from year 8. And I also have my bullet journal from last year, which I love with every inch of me. It's so messy and so crazy, and I got all of my friends to sign the front. So that is all the completed notebooks that I have. Absolutely insane. I love each of these with all of my soul. Thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in journaling like I am, I would stick around because I'm planning on making lots of journaling videos in the future. I want to talk about how to start a journal properly and how to keep up with the habit, and also what to write about, and maybe go through my unused journal collection. There's just like so much to talk about in this topic and I love it so much. So yeah, thank you for watching.